Howdy, folks. I'd like to discuss another topic again, which is not so much Bible. Well, it is kind of Bible related, but indirectly. Let me put it this way. Um, I have in my career, I'm a chemist, but I have worked at a huge variety of companies. And recently, I worked for a company, a pharmaceutical company, and but via a temp agency. And I think that this is applying for the situation in which Europe is currently situated. Um, and I don't like it. I don't like this situation. Of course, on one hand, temp agencies provide you of work. Other hand, as a temp agency worker, as a flex worker, you are kicked out very easily. Well, it happened to me recently. Um, and I like to make a statement about that. It's not only the flex work, the temp agencies stuff. It's much more than this. Europe, the European countries, have opened their borders because of some politicians. They thought it is economically beneficial. Yes, it is economically beneficial for the employers, not for the employees. What is happening now is that well, we have Western and European, Eastern European countries. Sorry for the wobbliness of the camera. And what happens now is that the Eastern European countries are the people over there, and I have nothing against these people. Don't get me wrong. They are crowding all the Western European countries and getting jobs here, and which is, of course, from their point of view, understandable. But what is happening is that it goes at the costs of the employees in the countries here. For example, in me in Holland. The Germans in Germany, the French in France, and so the Belgian people in Belgium, etc., etc., etc. So what happens is that the companies are overflooded with employees that are very cheap, which is very attractive to them, but not to people like me. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against East European people. Don't get me wrong in that area. But the thing is, what it happens also is that the life standard here in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in France, and in Germany, the life standard is high. The costs are high. And apparently the governments, our government, is keeping them high due to the high taxes. Next to that, we have the temp agencies, the flex workers, by which means you are easily taken in, but also easily kicked out. And that happened to me too many times already in my career. But so the employers, the factories, the companies, etc. They say, yeah, that's what we want, cheap laborers. Yeah, well, I understand that. From part of it, I understand it, but it has a very big negative downside in the end. The thing is, while being not able to have a good job, good and well-paid job, I mean, I can earn as much in a laboratory as I could earn on a high quality, high tech function, which you have to have a lot of degrees and a lot of education, and which I have, and a lot of experience. I can earn just as much as I do some unemployed, uneducated work in a steel factory, packing metal profiles. into that. And I must say I have done that. So I know that this is true. So the wages are exactly for unemployed work as well as for highly educated people nowadays. And people, companies profit from that. So what happens is, and it makes people like me more harder to sustain in a normal, decent lifestyle. I mean, and I don't even have a decent, nice lifestyle. I'm even trying to get there in a decent, nice lifestyle. The problem will be that I cannot build up a big pension. The problem will also be that I cannot buy stuff like people who would have a solid job, a contract for 1 year or more years, or a lifetime undetermined, how do you say, lifespan of a contract, a solid job, or however you call it in English. Um, it means that you cannot build up. And I must say, of 100% of the all workers that are currently working, at least in Holland, about 40% is a temp agency worker, a flex worker, as we call them. With this, in the end, because I have to be very cautious with my money, I will not spend a lot of money. And most probably that not, I cannot rent a house, I cannot buy a house, and so on. I barely get around. And this has a downside, not only for me, but also for the employers. I mean, if I have to be watching my money, and for many other people that goes, then the factories are overproducing, and they cannot deliver their goods as they would like to. So it backfires. The whole situation in the working market backfires in the end to the industrials. Because if I don't earn enough to sustain myself and my family, I have to watch my money, then that will backfire on me buying stuff from those factories. Why would I buy if I cannot spend it? So in the end, the employers, they think they benefit, but from my point of view, I'm not going to spend my money on your products, because I will spend money on other stuff that are cheaper. That's why shops like Action, like recycle shops, kringloopwinkels, are very flourishing right now, because we think that the economy is going up, but unfortunately, this is only seemingly. It's seemingly. Um, it will not be lasting in the end if this situation is kept. So I'm urging to the politics of, in this case, of Holland, of not allowing this situation too long, because it will decrease in the end the economy of Holland and other countries as well. It will take Europe down. It will take Netherlands down. And I never was in favor of the open borders in Europe. Why? Because there are so many differences in all those countries, cultural, financial, pension-wise. If you look at the gasoline prices, for example, in Holland you pay €1.50, up to €1.70, which is on one left. It's the most expensive price for gasoline that you pay, and then I'm talking about the liter price. Of course, in Iceland it's even more expensive, but in Holland it's about €1.50, and if you have bad luck on the highways, you pay €1.70. And from which about a lot of them is taxes. And of course, a country should pay taxes, but apparently in other countries they don't, or at least less. And apparently, Holland and the rich countries are supporting those well, poorer countries who got poorer by their own government's doings. And so I don't blame the ordinary people, the ordinary folks, but I think that the governments over there are not taking care of their own countries as they should. And we are paying the price, and but also bringing us down at the same time. So I'm not so in favor of this whole thing, because I'm not even 50 years old, and I'm there is well, my situation is not the most one to be jealous upon. Um, so this is what I want to share, and that the open borders of Europe has a big downside for both the ordinary people just like me, and but also in the end for the employers. In the end, although they think they will profit, yeah, maybe short-term profit, but in the end they will not profit, because I cannot buy more expensive goods than I would like to. It, I would like to buy a proper house. I would like to buy or rent a house, but I cannot even do that. And I cannot also buy a new car or stuff like that. So I will not spend my money on producers that are producing. The thing what I will do is go to a recycle shop and buy goods that I've already manufactured, and I can buy a bed for 50 euros, for example. I will not buy that at IKEA. I will not buy that at whatever kind of other kind of shop, because that's, for me, it's too expensive. And at a recycle shop, it's 50 euros, maybe less. And for other stuff like that too. I mean, I will not buy plates or no furniture for expensive. No, I will buy them at the recycle shop. Because why? Because that's the only thing I am able to afford if I have a house, at least. So the ordinary folks are being put under pressure more and more and more. And I'm thinking that this has all to do with going to a period where people are more treated like slaves than they used to be. And I also think that Europe is going have a big nightmare in the near future. And there is the link also with the biblical stuff. And that is what I mentioned in my videos earlier on, that due to the godlessness of Europe more and more, that Europe is going down, folks. And this is one of the consequences. Terrorism is going to rise. That goes hand in hand. The illnesses, sicknesses are going to rise. Poverty is going to rise. And that's that's why I'm mentioning this altogether. So Europe is going to decline. If Europe, really listen carefully, if Europe does not repent towards Jesus Christ, God, the God of the Bible, then the end of Europe as we know it now, or knew it after the last 50 to 100 years, a couple of hundred years, is going to end, folks. It's going to be a wasteland. It's going to be a desert more and more, and maybe not desert in a landscape, but more and more. It will not be a profitable area to live in. What you see in the rest of the world, where poverty is already, that will be introduced into Europe, because we also introduce these people from those countries, and they cannot build their own countries, so why would they be able to build it here? Do I have something against these people? No, it's nothing personal against these people, but that's the reality. That's what you saw if you read the Bible carefully, the Bible clearly shows us, folks, don't mingle with other people who don't have your own, don't have the same religious system with God, Jesus Christ. Don't mingle with these people. If you do, then people will say no to God more and more, and your countries will decline. And that's what you see happening, folks. The economy is seemingly okay right now. It's seemingly increasing slightly. But that will not prevail. In the end, it will decline. It's just a short. We had a crisis in 2008. Well, if you know something about stocks and stock trading, you will see a rise, but then also downfall, and in between rise and downfall. It's like a how do you call it, a ping pong ball, which is jumping, boing, 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 boing. So that's what's happening with the economy. And yes, we had a decline in 2008, which was a major decline. It's rising slightly now, and will they decline again, and so on, so on, so on. The more it is just a short-term upliving of the economy, and the question is how long that will take. So that's what I expect based on the development in Europe in its religious state of being. And so one is linked to the other. Whether you believe that, I don't care. The thing is, this is the truth about it. And whether you believe me, most probably not. This is reality, folks. A lot of countries that are not Christian are in deep, deep trouble in general. And that's all over history. Europe flourished when it was Christian, when it became Christian, and when it was Christian. That were the high tides of Europe. Now Europe is declining from Christianity. It will also decline in economy, and more bad stuff will start to happen. That's what we see happening, folks. So if Europe does not turn back to God, repent, make things straight with God, Jesus Christ, then Europe end is near. It may take 10 years, may take 20 years, it may take 50 years, but Europe's end is coming if Europe does not repent back to Jesus Christ. Take my word for it. Mark my words for it. And I must say that I'm experiencing, based on that, I'm experiencing that also in my private life, that there is no certainty anymore in jobs, in income, etc., 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 etc. And this will get worse. If Europe does not repent to God, Jesus Christ, this will get worse. Companies may think they have an increase in economy, but that's only short term. In the long run, they will decline as well. This is what I want to share. Thanks for watching, and think about it. There is a Chinese saying, and they say, if a person or a city or a country is not willing to learn from its history, it is doomed to make the same mistakes as happened in that history. That's what I want to say. I think it's a Chinese wisdom saying, if a country is not willing to learn from the mistakes in the history, then they are doomed to repeat the mistakes from the history. And that's what you see. I mean, a lot of countries that have not been Christian or biblical funded have been declined in the last couple of hundreds of years. And Europe flourished during its Christian period, with ups and downs. Okay, that's not a linear process, but it goes ups and downs, and then of course bad things happen, good things happen. But in general, you saw a rise when Christianity came. Europe rose. Now Christianity is aborted, and it it's going down, and will go down even further. We just started actually to go down as Europe, so there is not a big change right now. But in the end, it may take 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, I don't know, but it will go down if Europe does not repent to Jesus Christ, God of the Bible. And I'm experiencing that in my own private life, unfortunately. That's why I'm putting across this message. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time. Hasta la vista.